Within the prison's confines, mayhem breaks out as female guards are revealed to have engaged in shocking behavior with the inmates. From Linda Abreu's secret meetings with an inmate to Shania Begum's misuse of power, these female officers broke the rules they swore to follow. What started as a structured environment quickly spirals into a tangled mess of power struggles, hidden cravings, and broken trust. Linda D'Souza Abreu. A woman has been charged after a social media video reportedly showed a prison staff member getting cozy with an inmate in a jail cell. The Metropolitan Police announced that 30-year-old Linda D'Souza Abreu, hailing from Fulham in West London, faces misconduct charges in public office. The department added it began its investigation after officers were made aware of a video allegedly filmed inside HMP Wandsworth. In June, some jaw-dropping X-rated video blew up on social media, featuring a woman in uniform who seems to be getting cozy with a criminal. The footage allegedly shows her getting intimate with the inmate while his cellmate records everything on a phone in a Category B prison in southwest London. Abreu has now been slammed for mocking her punishment after pals filmed her putting her foot on the table at Neverland London in Fulham, lifting her dress up and stroking her tag as she says, "Very mindful, very cutesy, very demure." A source said, "It's disgusting she has no shame. She is laughing her head off and looks happy she has a tag to show off. She disgraced herself in a public office and now she has no care whatsoever for the punishment. Clearly, if she thinks her ankle tag is like a piece of jewelry, she didn't think it was a big deal." In May, Chief Inspector of Prisons Charlie Taylor issued an urgent notification about conditions at HMP Wandsworth. Wandsworth faced serious issues like overcrowding, pest problems, and increasing violence among inmates, which led to the inspector stepping in. HM Inspectorate of Prisons chose not to comment because of the upcoming elections. Linda D'Souza Abreu's case is a clear example of why it's important to keep professional boundaries within the prison system, and the lesson is further reinforced by Tina Gonzalez's case. Tina Gonzalez. Tina Gonzalez began employment as a Fresno County Sheriff's Correctional Officer in September 2016. She resigned from her job at the end of December 2019. In early 2020, December 2019, staff at Fresno County Jail got a tip-off about a male inmate who had a cell phone and was allegedly involved with a correctional officer named Tina Gonzalez. When they searched the inmate's cell, they found the phone. The claims were forwarded to the sheriff's executive staff, and the Internal Affairs Unit took on the investigation of Gonzalez. Meanwhile, the Vice Unit looked into any possible crimes she might have committed. Both teams found enough evidence to back up the allegations. They also uncovered that Gonzalez had once smuggled alcohol into the jail. According to the Fresno Bee, she even cut a hole in her uniform pants to facilitate physical contact while on duty. Not long after being interviewed by detectives, Gonzalez decided to resign from her position at the sheriff's office. The Fresno County District Attorney's Office has since filed criminal charges against her. She is facing felony charges for engaging in inappropriate conduct with an inmate, possessing a controlled substance in jail, and a misdemeanor charge for having a cell phone with the intent to deliver it to an inmate. Her bail has been set at $21,000. Gonzalez's former boss, Assistant Sheriff Steve McComas, told the court that he had seen pretty disgusting things during his 26 years working on the job. However, he had never been more surprised than when he learned of Gonzalez's having physical relation in full view of other inmates. But she has shown no remorse, said McComas, alleging that Gonzalez had continued to call and have explicit conversations with the inmate with whom she was intimate. Gonzalez's lawyer mentioned in court that his client was in a pretty fragile state following the end of her marriage. It was never her intention to bring any harm or danger to the employees in the jail or anyone else in the jail, her attorney said. This kind of behavior by an officer is inexcusable, as evidenced by the case of Amber Clavel, who was also caught engaging with an inmate. Amber Clavel. A female corrections officer has avoided doing time behind bars after admitting to an affair with an inmate at a Sydney prison. Amber Clavel, 25, smuggled methamphetamine into the prison for her lover, with the drug hidden in balloons stuffed in her bra. Clavel marked her graduation as a corrections officer in 2022, promising to carry out her responsibilities with integrity and in line with the law. However, 2 years later, she violated that promise while employed at the Jeffrey Pierce Correctional Center. At Penrith Local Court, it was revealed that Clavel had a months-long relationship with armed robber Mark Kennedy. She became pregnant and confided in her co-worker, Jessica Elguindi, who was also involved with an inmate. "I'm literally pregnant," she wrote, adding, "I'm an idiot." In April, Clavel was caught sneaking 33 grams of crystal meth into jail for her boyfriend. She pleaded guilty to 6 charges, including misusing her position and having a risky romantic relationship with an inmate. Elguindi received a 12-month bond for her involvement with an inmate and accessing restricted information. Clavel was sentenced to a 2-year and 3-month intensive correction order and 200 hours of community service. Demi Zeshka. It was reported that Demi Zeshka, a NS$ correctional officer, swapped her day shifts at Long Bay Correctional Center for a night roster so she could get intimate with 32-year-old drink-drive double killer Jared Smith in the gym. Zeshki and Smith reportedly turned the prison gym into their secret hangout during the night shifts, where they got involved in some questionable activities. Her behavior crossed professional lines and broke the trust expected of her role as a correctional officer, whose job is to keep order and discipline in the facility. The affair was eventually uncovered when other guards grew suspicious and caught Zeshka and Smith in the act. After the incident came to light, an investigation into her actions was initiated. Faced with the inability to defend her behavior, Zeshka decided to resign before any serious disciplinary action could be taken. While there are no legal charges for misconduct between prison staff and inmates, the Minister for Corrections, David Elliott, has announced that he's asked Peter Severin, the NS$ prison commissioner, to set up a task force to look into misconduct within the prison system. David Elliott told a press conference today, "I have also instructed the Department of Justice Secretary to provide options for an increase to the penalties for misconduct." Next, we have Vicky White, who took her relationship with an inmate to an entirely different level. Vicky White. Casey White was jailed on a capital murder charge in the stabbing death of Connie Ridgway. He confessed to the murder and was awaiting trial at the jail when he disappeared, authorities said. Officials discovered that Vicky White and Casey White had a close bond and had been in phone contact for the last 2 years leading up to their disappearance. Lauderdale County Sheriff Rick Singleton mentioned that Vicky White and Casey White left that morning, the same day Vicky was supposed to retire, claiming they were heading to a mental health evaluation for Casey. However, investigators found out that no such evaluation was actually on the schedule. As Vicky was leaving the jail, she told a booking officer she had a medical appointment after dropping off Casey because she wasn't feeling well. Singleton pointed out that Vicky didn't have any appointments lined up for that day. The pair managed to evade capture for over a week. They were eventually tracked down to Evansville, Indiana, which is about 270 miles from the jail, after Casey was spotted on a security camera cleaning a Ford F-150 pickup. The business owner shared the footage with the authorities. Their escape came to a dramatic end during a police chase that resulted in a crash and Vicky's tragic death. Vicky White lost her life because of her involvement with an inmate, while Alicia Bates found herself in a complicated love triangle with another inmate. Alicia Bates. Prison officer Bates was first to strike up a relationship with a man who had been jailed for drug trafficking offenses. She became completely infatuated with him, sent him X-rated messages and naked photos of herself, and even planned for a future together for them once he'd been released. Operational Support Officer Jody Wilkes denied having a relationship with the inmate, despite his history of forming connections with female staff and the fact that she had an improper association with him. Prosecutor Brian Berline revealed that Alicia Bates's relationship with the inmate, which lasted from December 2019 to June 2020, was uncovered after prison officials received tips about their closeness. The inmate was housed in the same area where she worked, and during a search of his cell, authorities discovered a hidden mobile phone inside a stereo. Alicia Bates, 30, received a sentence of 2 years and 8 months in prison, while Jody Wilkes, 27, was handed a 12-month suspended sentence for their involvement in a 3-way intimate relationship with an inmate at HMP Buckley Hall in Rochdale. Now let's head over to Kentucky State Penitentiary, where Officer Trista Fox faced charges for having an intimate relationship with an inmate. Trista Fox. Trista Fox, 39, was charged with third-degree misconduct in December 2022 after fellow guards walked in on her being intimate with a Kentucky State Penitentiary inmate in Lyon County. She admitted to investigators that she felt vulnerable to the romantic advances of the inmate after they confronted her about their relationship. "He just caught me at the wrong time one day. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say," she said, according to the Herald Leader. The inmate was more philosophical about the union during an interview with prison officials. "I'm saying that I just live in the moment," he said. Experts shared with the outlet that prison guards face tough working conditions and frequently deal with being overworked because of ongoing staff shortages nationwide. These circumstances can create a sense of isolation and make them feel undervalued. "We handle every piece of information the same, whether that be contraband or a relationship or whatever. The truth of the matter is, if we were not handling these situations in a very aggressive manner, the numbers would not be what they were," Scott Jordan, Deputy Commissioner of Adult Institutions, told the Herald Leader. Moving forward, we have Officer Charlotte Farrow, who found her soulmate in an inmate. Charlotte Farrow. Charlotte Farrow, who worked at Sousa Baranowski Correctional Center, was arraigned in Clinton District Court on one count of a prison guard having intimate relations with a prisoner. She pleaded not guilty and was released on personal recognizance, with orders to stay away from the alleged victim and have no indirect contact with him. Farrow's lawyer, Blake Rubin, mentioned that he wouldn't discuss the details of the case outside of court. At this point, all we can say is Ms. Farrow adamantly denies the charges and is very much looking forward to her day in court, Rubin said. The case against Farrow was filed in a pretty unique way, thanks to a civilian complaint. John Swamley, the lawyer for the alleged victim, took the matter to a magistrate who determined there was enough evidence to charge Farrow with a crime. Swamley explained that he chose this route because inmates often struggle to reach out to the police when they want to report a prison employee. In a statement submitted to the clerk magistrate, the victim mentioned that he and Farrow met while he was in the secure treatment unit, which is a disciplinary area for individuals dealing with mental health issues. On another note, there's female officer Kate Southern, who tried to keep her relationship with an inmate under wraps but eventually got caught. Kate Southern. A prison officer who had an inappropriate relationship with an inmate has been sentenced after admitting misconduct. A prisoner at HMP Alt Course managed to chat with Kate Southern over the phone using a call divert number and a fake name, according to the Northwest Regional Organized Crime Unit. The 26-year-old from Whiston, Liverpool, ended up bringing him food and drinks inside the prison and even took cash from him to treat herself to flowers and a hotel stay between December 2021 and January 2022. She admitted to misconduct in a public office at Liverpool Crown Court and received a 16-month sentence, which was suspended for 2 years, along with a requirement to complete 125 hours of community service. Speaking after sentencing, Inspector Chris McClellan said there was an expectation from the public that prison staff be entrusted to safeguard the security, good order, and discipline of those under their supervision. Where an inappropriate relationship between staff and prisoners develops, this greatly undermines that trust, he said. While Kate's behavior was highly inappropriate, let's take you to Portland, where Aisha Goldsby had been caught with an inmate. Aisha Goldsby. Prison officer. Aisha Goldsby was jailed after she tipped off a prisoner at HMP Portland about a cell search. Goldsby, 23, had become romantically involved with Dino Harrison, who had been jailed for robbery and drug dealing. From June 2021 to March 2022, Goldsby was in touch with Harrison through social media and texts using 2 different phones. She failed to inform the prison staff that Harrison had those phones, even though it was required. On January 28th and 29th, 2022, Goldsby warned Harrison about a cell search, fully aware he had the phones. In August 2023, she was sentenced to 16 months in prison. Goldsby really pushed the limits in her relationship, ignoring the serious fallout from her choices. Similarly, Shania Begum's story shows another officer losing track of her professional boundaries. Shania Begum. Shania Begum, a 25-year-old prison officer, was caught engaging in inappropriate activity with an inmate, Joshua Mullings, in a store cupboard at HMP Birmingham. Her inappropriate behavior came to light after suspicions were raised by colleagues at the prison, prompting authorities to place her under surveillance. A hidden camera set up in the supply closet caught Begum's growing misconduct. What began as some flirting and heavy petting quickly turned into a more serious relationship with Mullings. There was a moment when she completely ignored her work radio while spending time with him, and a co-worker had to step in after she had been missing for over an hour. Her obvious neglect of her responsibilities raised more red flags about her behavior. Later on, Begum confessed that her connection with Mullings made her feel cherished during a tough period in her life. She was engaged to another guy, whom she called controlling, and found comfort in her relationship with the inmate. Even with her personal challenges, her actions were a major violation of trust and professional standards. At her trial at Birmingham Crown Court, Begum, a resident of Hurleybrook Way in Telford, confessed to misconduct in a public office. She became emotional in the dock when the court sentenced her to 16 months in prison on January 11, 2024. These surprising tales of female officers getting too close to inmates really show some major trust issues. What makes them act so recklessly in a setting that's supposed to be all about discipline and control? Share your opinions in the comments, and make sure to hit the card on the screen for more fascinating videos.